Hey, this is Bill Elgin from Elgin Web Design Reviews. You can find me at billelgin.com if you need a custom website designed for your business, or you can send me an email to reviews@billelgin.com if you'd like your current website reviewed and featured here free. Today I'm going to be reviewing SantiniCrimeLaw.com. So let's get started. Let's start at the top. As you can see, it's not titled correctly. It's titled Home Pipe Kim 1, and that's the way Google will index it and list it in the search engines. Not only that, if somebody bookmarks this page, it'll be bookmarked Home Pipe Kim 1, and you don't want that. The other problem we have here is we're missing the icon on the left side of the title. That's called a favicon, and it's not configured correctly, so that's why it's not being displayed. If we look at the header here, you can see it's uninspired. Not only that, it's actually off-center to the right. I'm not a fan of the nav bar, and I'm not a fan of using all caps. Instead of spending time to design this correctly, using all caps is the lazy way to make the text look different than the rest of the text. Very seldom should you use all caps, and just like that, very seldom should you use animations. This animation right here isn't appropriate on a lot of levels. I do a lot of work for lawyers, and I know their target audience. Without going into specific details, the photos in this animation are not appropriate for the target audience. Okay, let's move down and look at the bottom half of the front page of this website. I can already see there are a few issues. The first thing that I noticed is the title for these buttons. You should never use generic titles for your buttons, such as more or click here. Use something more descriptive. The next thing that I noticed is this text is a different color than the rest of the text. That typically means this is a link, and it's not, so it shouldn't be used. And here, where this is a link, it should be a different color. And you can see the phone number is not a link, and it should be. It lists these different counties where she works, but I'm not sure why it lists these here. They seem out of place. The inconsistent spacing here, and also over in this blue box, shows the lack of attention to detail at this website. As we scroll down, I notice the areas of practice here over on the right are just a list. These should all be links that go deeper into the website. The last thing that should be fixed is the footer. Right now it just has social media links, which is fine, but the footer is very important. It should have an email link, it should have a phone number, possibly an address. And while I recommend having a legal disclaimer on all websites, it's particularly important on a website for a lawyer. I have no idea why this horizontal white bar is here at the bottom. I assume it's a mistake, because I don't think somebody would put this here on purpose. Let's go take a look at the source code. Oh, this is going to get ugly. So when designers are making a website, they typically try to put as little information in the head as they can. Okay, this website was made by Wix. I've heard they put a lot of unnecessary information in their websites. I can't imagine that they did this though. It was probably done by the designer somehow. I really I've looked at this a couple times and I don't have any idea why this happened. So anyway, here's our head. Starts up here. And we're going to scroll down a little bit. I have no idea what this is. Some kind of script. Maybe for analytics, I guess. Okay, if we keep scrolling down, more scripts. And remember, this is for a small website. We have these comment tags here that don't seem to make any sense. Keep scrolling down. I have no idea what that was for. And then we get into the fonts. Now I'm going to grab this over here because to scroll down, if I were to scroll down just by scrolling with my mouse, it takes forever. I've already done it. So watch how many we have here. I mean, there's probably over 100 typefaces. I mean, wow. I've never seen this done before. I mean, maybe there's 200 typefaces. I have no idea why that's loading like that. Okay, so even if the website is not using these typefaces, and it's not, it still has to load. So somebody that's on a mobile device that's going to come look at this on a slow connection, they have to load all that information. We are already thousands of lines of code into this website, and we haven't even reached the HTML body tag yet. That's a problem. Okay, this is the title tag, and that was the problem that I had mentioned earlier about how it wasn't titling the website correctly. Well, this is where it happens. The head finally ends here at line 2541, and the body starts here. I mean, to give you an idea, the body tag here that's starting at line 2544 on my website starts at line 53. Okay. So, and then we got immediately we jump right into another JavaScript, some more comment tags that don't mean anything, and then I have no idea what all this is. All these color definitions, all these styles. I guess they're inline styles. This is a mess. I mean, again, we're not even at the bottom yet. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. We're looking at 3,000 lines of code. Okay, 3,000 lines of code, and I'm sure 90% of it's unnecessary. You may be curious why all this matters. Well, it affects everything. It affects search engine placement, and it affects the titles of the pages, and more importantly, it affects the download time of the website. So when somebody's on a mobile device and they're looking for information about a lawyer, the last thing they want to do is wait. I think the last time they did surveys, the average amount of time you have before they leave is about 7 seconds. So you have to be very careful with this. Okay, let's go look at the other areas of this website. We're in the practice areas here. You can see this is in blue text, and it's using uppercase and lowercase letters. If we look at proven results, it's black with all uppercase letters. Let's go see what contact looks like. Contact doesn't have a title at all until you get down here. So as a title, then we have different size fonts. We have phone numbers that aren't links. We have a map that isn't interactive. Okay, that's all bad. Go back to practice areas. You can see this isn't even practice areas. This is talking about her experience. So this should be an about page. And then down here we get into practice areas, and you can see the text is really tight, way too tight. Schedule a consultation actually just takes you back to the contact page. Under proven results, we have this big, it should be a subtitle, but it's just as big as the title. You can see the spacing's not right in between these different elements. It changes. The titles aren't right. The subtitles aren't right. The spacing at the bottom isn't right. Attention to detail simply wasn't important here, and it should be. Okay, when I evaluate a website, one thing that I look at, and one thing that's very important, is I look to see how responsive it is. Now, by responsive, I mean how does it look on different size devices? And the way we do that as designers is we put media queries in that change the layout based on the width of the window. Okay. Now, I checked out on other websites by grabbing the window on the edge and moving it in. And you can see this is not changing the layout at all. Okay, see nothing's changing as we move tighter in. Okay, now normally I would tell you that this website's not responsive, and just by looking at that I would say it's not a responsive website, which is very, very bad. But when I went into Chrome DevTools to look at it closer, I got this. Now, if you're not familiar with Chrome DevTools, you should be. Even if you're not a designer or you don't write website code yourself, this allows you to look at the website on many different devices. Okay. It also rates your website and tells you where the weak parts are. And it also, if you go down here, it tells you how you can take steps to make those weak areas stronger. Okay. But let's get back to the website. I was surprised to see it actually was changing the layout. So I didn't look very closely at the code, but I assume it's something in JavaScript where it's changing the layout within that JavaScript, which is the wrong way to do it. We should be using media queries here, and that's the way professionals do it. Now, if we go up here and look at the different layouts, we can look at responsive and move it out. You should be able to see this website on different size, different widths. And it's just not letting me do that. If I go to the laptop width, this is the way it looks. Now, I assume that it wouldn't look like this on a laptop, although what I suspect might happen is if it goes to the smaller size, the JavaScript doesn't have the ability to make it go back to a bigger size if somebody opens up the window again. So I don't know that for sure. I didn't look at it very closely, but it's just a mess. And you can see it looks like a mess. It's off center, it's too big. The menu here, the navigation bar is bad. So technically it's responsive, but I certainly wouldn't want this to represent me. Okay, in summary, there are plenty of issues at this website. Now, as a lawyer, you really want a website that's going to represent you well. When people look at your website, that's going to be their first impression, and they're looking for something that's professional. And if it's not professional, they may assume you're not professional, and that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. So in a lot of ways, this website could be hurting the lawyer that's using it more than it's helping them, and that's really what you want to avoid. There's no such thing as a perfect website, but hopefully the owner of this website has gathered some valuable information to make their website better. And hopefully everybody else that viewed this video got a few ideas themselves to make their own websites better.